The thing is, we just had this wonderful town hall with one of our CEOs of our parent company, and this was the top thing on his list. And I think that's fantastic, given that, as Jeffrey said, we're kind of 3 years removed from some of the shock of George Floyd and, Black Lives Matter. But from that standpoint, it's like, whoa, everyone realizes it's a business strategy. It's not just about our people. It's about, community engagement, our vendor management, procurement, all those kind of things. And so that's when I said, oh, this is definitely what I want to do, because I can have, my impact will be just tremendous.
The big question: how quickly can brands and businesses change and modernize in response to the changing demographics globally? The future of work, demand for modernizing the practice of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and industry corrections. This is why we started the Change Podcast by Reframe, to help people leaders like you get answers that accelerate inclusive change and growth that reflects where the world is going. Get ready as we host a discussion with people leaders faced with the same challenges and modernize their approach to solving a decades-old problem. I'm your host, Jeffrey L. Bowman.
The first Vice President of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Belonging, and Culture. So a very long title. But it actually as a result of all the work that we did with Reframe, because within our organization, I've been with the organization a long time, and we are into food management. Do a lot of client dining, cultural centers, Lincoln Center, it runs the gamut. And so being in operations for a very long time, it's something where this is not something I really wanted to get involved in.
Why?
There we go. But it was one of those things where you didn't see a lot of movement, right? It seemed to be kind of the same old. And, our company did, great things as far as cultural celebrations, but really from menuing, that kind of programming. And I think like a lot of companies, summer of 2020, and especially at the murder of George Floyd, like, whoa, something else needs to be done. And that's where Reframe came along, but not just that easy, because it was like, well, we tried to do it ourselves. We did a little survey. Everyone thinks it's great because we realize we have a very diverse organization, but at the base, right? And so we realized, wait a minute, we're food and hospitality experts, but this is not our wheelhouse. So we need to contract with someone. And actually the thing that really tipped this over this really is your whole change management approach. Because like, wait a minute, we could actually measure this. We never, heard about that. A lot of other consultants wanted to do programming, more statements. So this was a little bit different from that standpoint.
Can we back up? Because I think now we are 3 years removed from 2020. A number of organizations went out and hired chief diversity officers. And a lot of organizations tax their ERGs in terms of, hey, do you mind taking on this other assignment? And for high-performing individuals and people of color, oftentimes there's the ask, would you be open if you took on this role as chief diversity officer or head of multicultural marketing? For many of us, that's a graveyard. Because at the end of the day, if we have been in these organizations, we want to be operators. We want to own P&Ls. And for a long time, the idea of D&I and multicultural marketing were graveyards from a professional standpoint. What was that moment where you said, it's something I really want to take on, and maybe there is an opportunity to drive impact within restaurants?
And I just think it was everything with 2020. I knew even for myself, needed to do just more and wanting to have a greater impact. Again, always being responsible for a P&L, a large group. But I said in this way, I could actually impact the entire company. So as Jeffrey was saying, we definitely took this on as a kind of a stretch assignment. And that's what it had been actually until this past October, a stretch assignment. I'm like, whoa, something else needs to happen. And the one thing that our company did is we realized we wanted to make it a business strategy. So it's what's a little bit different about us is that this particular position, I'm not reporting through HR. that we made a conscious effort to make sure that I'm reporting through operations to the chief operating officer directly, because we said this is a business strategy. This permeates every aspect of our business. And the thing is, we just had this wonderful town hall with one of our CEOs of our parent company, and this was the top thing on his list. And I think that's fantastic, given that, as Jeffrey said, we're kind of 3 years removed from some of the shock of George Floyd and, Black Lives Matter. But from that standpoint, it's like, whoa, everyone realized it's a business strategy. It's not just about our people. It's about, community engagement, our vendor management, procurement, all those kind of things. And so that's when I said, oh, this is definitely what I want to do, because I can have, my impact will be just tremendous.
Was there ever a moment where you were like, I don't know why we brought these guys?
Well, because they pushed. When Reframe came along, I was like, well, wait a minute. What do you need? An assessment? Oh, yes, we're going to do an in-depth assessment, and we're actually going to interview all the way from our frontline associates all to the C-suite. So when we started doing that, it was like, whoa. And then we had some intense workshops with the executive committee, and very eye-opening for a lot of them. And I think a lot of them were like, why did we bring them on? Really, really pushing our buttons. I mean, I think that their concept of DEI was unconscious bias, and that's where it kind of ended. And
your leadership.
So I think that's where it's been a full circle moment. And I think with having a partner like Reframe, they continue to push and make sure to help hold us accountable. And I think that's also the great outcome of the work that we continue to do with them, is holding someone accountable. And that's why I'm now in my position, because I realize this is not just a nice to have. It's not something we can stick, on the bucket of the, HR person who before that's exactly what they were doing. But again, I think gluing some of it together.
And when we talked a bit earlier, this may have been before you came, this idea of, and I mentioned to someone else, interest is one of the things that, given some of the work that we did around employee segmentations, how did you guys navigate that at corporate level? Because you think about humans' attitudes and behaviors, that has a lot of implications if that information were to, get outside of the company, right? And it's continuous, it's ongoing. Did you guys have the system set up to deliver against that ambition?
It's process. I think that's all. And that's where, again, just having a partner to kind of help us navigate this. And now 3 years removed, and, I was talking to, our head of people strategy. It's interesting how she's had a full circle moment. We were talking about intersectionality with someone that had Saudi here in the audience. And it was something that was kind of scary. All of this was very scary. Now we had to have legal involved. Even when we started working with Reframe and thinking about the assessment, and oh my goodness, everyone has to vet it, which is understandable, because again, when you haven't really done a deep dive to the degree that we did, we just don't know what we don't know. And so I think that's been the great thing, that it really has been an amazing journey for all of us, with the executive committee, again, with my particular position being created, as well as I have support. So I have actually 2 people that will be reporting to me. And I think that was the beauty also working, through this process, because it was like, this one person can't do it alone.